today's session, I am taking a little bit of a different approach than last week. So I'm actually going to show you some actual apps today. And in no way, shape, or form are any of these apps endorsed by Microsoft. It just happened to be a sampling that I took from the App Store that I want to be able to showcase to you because I want you to understand that regardless really of persona, we want your workers working in ways that work for them and work for your business. And again, as Millen mentioned, everyone is unique, and especially the first line workforce. So as you're thinking about the different personas in your organization, and as you're thinking about, the first line worker, they're definitely going to have a different setup than any of your corporate workers. So you really want to think through what is it that they care about most? What information do you need them to have access to? And make sure that you're defining your policies as such. And make sure that you're also listening to them, right? They're going to know better than anyone what they need. So make sure that they are part of that discovery and feedback as well. So from a third-party app perspective, I get a lot of questions, actually just posted on LinkedIn about this. I get a lot of questions about where can I see all the apps that are available to me? Well, we have a Microsoft App Store, and actually regardless of, if you're looking at Microsoft 365, or if you're looking at Dynamics 365, if you're looking at web apps, you can kind of see there in the left-hand pane, you can hone in specifically on what kind of app that you're looking for. So of course, right, we're focused on Teams here at TryThisAt.Work, so that's really what we're going to be talking about. So you can filter on Teams, you can even drill down further by category. I highly encourage you to look at every single app and also listen to your business in terms of, what are the business users using today? What apps would actually be beneficial to them? Make sure that both the business and IT are collaborating on what's going to be beneficial for the organization and how work gets done. And again, apps are all about giving you the information you need at your fingertips. All right, so I'm not going to touch too much more on the App Store because I kind of just want to jump right in. So as I was thinking about the context of this session, really when you think about the first line worker, there's some different components sort of that come into play, right? So underlying, right, HR, it's important to everyone. Everyone wants to know what they're getting paid. They want to know what their schedule looks like. They need to get access to information that they need, like the employee handbook. There's lots of standards in that regard. There's also, we're going to be taking a look at productivity applications. We're going to be looking from right? So think about from an attrition standpoint, what is it that's going to motivate these first line workers? We know there's high turnover in this space. What is it that you can be doing and what can you be taking advantage of to help with that? So where I'm going to start is actually the HR side of it. So time management, payroll, and sort of just some other apps here. So I just pulled a sampling. Again, none of this is endorsed. I literally just pulled a sampling of some apps aligned to, we'll just say this very large HR umbrella, lots of arms under this. Right, so from a time management standpoint, you've got the Chronospot or the Human Resources app, which again is on if you're not aware, that's on the Microsoft side. ADP, what do first line workers care about the most, right? They want to know what they're getting paid. They want to know what their deductions are, right? They want to understand, they want to be able to see their payroll. And, a lot of times, I remember I was in the first line workforce for a really long time. I mean, technically you could kind of say I'm a hybrid right now, but when I always had to go in to get a piece of paper, to get my check and a piece of paper, and that's just not the way you need to work anymore. I love being able to, be able to log on to our website internally and get all of the payroll information and be able to see where my deductions are, 401k stuff, yada, yada. No different for your first line workers. They want to see and have access to this stuff as well. So keep that in mind. Also, a lot of organizations today are using Workday, right? So just from, again, in this example, time management, requesting time off, it's integrated, it's tied into your backend, just like Kronos, just like ADP, just to name a few of them. And the last one, just as an example of, again, from adding value and thinking about your persona of the first line worker and thinking about your approach with them and what's most important to them and what needs to be available in Teams to them. Another one is this another app called Live Tiles Reach that I just pulled down. And you know, we at Microsoft have ways for you to do this as well that I'm going to show you when I do a demo. But Live Tiles Reach essentially is, you can see here, like it's actually got, it's a very nice, we're all used to our tiles, and I know everybody loves the tiles and it's been that way for a while. So this essentially is like, it has live tiles. So you can see here communication guide, employee handbook, training videos, and et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of stuff really of what you, you know, resources that you have potentially on your internet now, maybe that you just want to customize specifically for your Firstline worker and leverage the live tiles reach. Another thing I want to mention about apps, guys, just something to keep in mind, right? So clearly Workday, ADP, so, some of these apps I'm going to be showing you, the majority, like pretty much all of them are free inside of the actual Teams app store, but clearly, right, there's a service on the back end of some of these, like the ones I mentioned, Kronos, Workday, ADP. So just something to keep in mind. You'll know if it's paid or if it's fully free or if there's a trial or subscription that's required. You get all those details when you're looking in the App Store, so something to keep in mind. So let's move on. Let's talk about productivity, right? So we need our store associates being productive. We need them talking to our customers, right? So I'm going to talk, I guess, to the slide in the context of retail. That's the vertical that I sit in. And everyone understands retail. That's right. We're all consumers. So it's a very, very easy example to provide. So first of all, let's talk about, so I've got, for example, the Now virtual agent on here. Again, lots of organizations use ServiceNow, again, integrated on the back end. You know, a lot of times, like I've actually walked into stores where systems have gone down, right? It's important for them to be able to submit those quickly. You know, why not, if you have one interface for everything, would you not also have an interface, you know, in order to get support from corporate? So just something there. Business Central. So this is example from a, you know, Dynamics 365 perspective. Right. So here in a store, this is example of a chair. Essentially, it's providing all of the point of sale data, right? So allowing you, right, maybe there's a sale, there's, you know, markdowns coming, right? It's allowing essentially your workers to have that information at their fingertips that's funneling down from corporate and is pinned essentially in Teams for them to access. Having a unified, you know, having a calendar, essentially one calendar view. There's, of course, lots of different ways that you can pull in calendars and Teams, and you can even, you know, leverage a team calendar. But here, this is just another example of an app where you can essentially have a unified view on your pinned in Teams as an actual app. If you didn't want to actually use one of the default calendars, or if you're not using bookings or whatever the case may be. Yammer. So, right, great use cases with Yammer in terms of a Firstline worker. So we have a lot of customers that actually, from a Firstline perspective and from a support perspective, leverage Yammer essentially as a knowledge base because it's so easily searchable, and it's it's an org-wide spread. So, you know, if you have stores that are dispersed globally, you know, just imagine sending out a question about, hey, I'm hitting this POS error as I'm trying to process this. Has anybody seen this before? I actually have a lot of amazing use cases where Yammer has actually solved problems in real time, you know, and able to do so without actually calling into some type of support line. So, you know, leverage multiple ways to get your Firstline workers connected and getting them the information as quickly as they can to solve any problems that they're facing. So Upwave, this was one I thought was kind of cool just for this example, because Upwave, right, as you think about Firstline workers, right, they always have tasks to do. Maybe they're stocking shelves. You know, maybe they are, you know, there's a holiday, right, we've got Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Christmas and all that coming up. So super busy for retailers. And when you walk in the stores, generally they have holiday displays. Maybe you actually want to start tracking, like, how much time does it actually take for our retailers to set up for these holiday displays? So Upwave actually allows you to actually track the task. And so you can actually get some data on how long it's actually taking these store associates to do these tasks assigned to, you know, getting ready for the holidays. And then Asana, from a, you know, again, a different way to essentially be able to track tasks and how kind of based off of those set of tasks, how they're getting communicated and pushed down. So again, just some examples from a productivity and task management and support standpoint in terms of how these first line workers work. So all very different, but again, the underlying theme here, giving them apps, what they need essentially that are going to help them be, more productive. All right. We know one of the most important things as it pertains to first line workers is our customers, right? Happy customers equals revenue equals happy corporate. So there are actually third-party apps out in the stores that essentially provide information to you to help you provide better customer service. So customer insights, again, I'm just I pulled a Dynamics 365 one out here, but let's, think about it from a retail perspective. Again, I walk into a store, somebody has a profile on me because I'm a repeat customer, right? And I truly do only shop at certain stores, by the way, so this would totally be something that's real life for me. Right, they have a profile on me. They know exactly what I like. They could pull my size immediately and I could be in and out of the door. They can target me specifically for certain sales because they know exactly what I like. But being able to pull up customer information and to personalize the experience for your end users, that's huge. And that is trending, right? Everyone wants to be able to understand their customer better and provide that personalized experience. So just think about that. Think about putting that into the fingertips of your first line workforce. So hey, market and text. These are pretty cool. I want you all to think about all of us as consumers across the spanning generations, we all have different ways that we like to communicate with our retailers. Some, they don't want to go through a web browser. They want to call somebody up on the phone and place an order. You have others that just want to use the web browser. They're cool with the chatbots. And you have others that are just like, I wish I could just, text into this store because I'm supposed to pick this up, but I'm getting this weird error back and I just want to be able to resolve this directly with my store because, think about it. In the context of shopping, and again, I know I'm giving a lot of retail examples, but this is because we're all consumers. I want you to understand this. Start thinking about the ways that you're supporting your customers. We all have different ways that we like to get supported. Personally, I am a huge fan of tech support. Why? I mean, bots are cool. Don't get me wrong. I love bots. But you know what I love even better is when I can send a text to a store and I don't have to sit there and wait and wait and wait. And they can just text me back at any point in time. I go about my day. I get my answer. I'm a happy camper. To me, I personally, I love being able to do things through text. I mean, I work in a lot of different ways every day, but just on the side because of how much I'm on the phone and because because I'm really within the browser and on my computer from a day-to-day perspective, I really like getting things done quickly from a text perspective. And then not only that, but Hey Market, for example, just goes actually beyond SMS and so your individuals that are supporting, that are answering, are actually answering inside of Teams, and it's pushing back as a text to that individual. But not only that, but they can actually pick up messages from Facebook, for example. So check out that example. They can actually pick up. You can interact via Teams, SMS, and other chat applications through Haymarket. So just something to keep in mind as you're thinking about, hey, what are the ways that we want to be able to communicate with our customers and provide them with better customer service? All right, and this one. So I can't stress this one enough. Because the customers that I talk to all the time, really addressing attrition is huge, right? Turnover costs a lot of money. First line workers, it's known that it's a high turnover business. What do you do to keep those workers engaged and to keep their morale high? There's a lot of different things that you can do. I will tell you folks, at the end of the day, apps are not going to solve for it. It is a cultural shift. The organization has to want to invest in these first line workers and have them stick around. But there are apps that can help support that cultural shift. And that's kind of some of these that I threw up on the screen here. Tiny Pulse getting a pulse on how your workers are doing for the day, right? How are you? Are you, are you happy right now? Is there anything that we can do better? Being able to give praise or thanks. So we have praise inside of Teams, and there's also thanks. And you can see here, kind of, it's a little bit hard to see, but in the gray there in the background, there's a lot of different ways, categorization of how you can push out thanks or push out actually like e-cards, e-birthday cards is sort of the example that's in here. Hey Taco, I know I've heard a lot of people loving Hey Taco. I personally haven't used it, but it sounds pretty cool. Essentially, you issue tacos, and then those, based off of things that you do, it's like kudos, right? So it's kind of incentivizing individuals for doing a good job and feeling like they're doing a good job by others giving them tacos. And then the tacos essentially contribute, like basically you build them up, and then eventually those tacos equal some type of, there's some type of incentive on the back end for all of those tacos. Same thing for Bonusly, very similar. And I know a lot of people are aware of Bonusly, so that's why I kind of wanted to throw that one in. So again, people basically send you these tacos and these bonus points, and then eventually at the end of the day, maybe it contribute, it's, hey, you know what, you did amazing this week, you get a free coffee on us. And, it could be something as simple as that, but just think about, right, when your Firstline workers feel appreciated, it's huge. And that's a lot of feedback we get from Firstline workers as well, is they do want to understand opportunities for growth. They do want to feel appreciated, and they do want to feel heard from corporate. Kind of like Tiny Pulse Hero, another more of a visually engaging sort of worker pulse, and then Poly, right? So the reason why I wanted to throw this here under engagement is because, right, getting polls from your Firstline workforce, right? It's kind of like getting a pulse, but you're being a little more detailed in exactly what you're asking for. And essentially, you can use that information to essentially maybe shift how you're engaging with those workers or how they're approaching certain things. Ask them for their ideas, right? They're in the day-to-day, really engage them. All right, and then before we get into the demo, because I know I've got about 11 minutes here. Before we get into the demo, so some Power App considerations. So I just want to tell you all, so we have some great samples out there that exist already. So right, this is outside of third-party apps. Now we're talking about Power Apps. And Power Apps essentially allow you to create really these low-code, no-code solutions. And clearly we've got samples out there that you can just pick up and start running with. And in particular, I actually love all three of these. So employee ideas, I was actually just talking about that, right? Listen to your employees that are interfacing with your customer. They know better than anyone potentially what opportunities there are. Really listen to them, allow them to submit their ideas and collect that and take action on it. Issue reporting, right? Again, in a retail store, maybe somebody slips and falls, do you have a paper process for filling out that incident now? Why not automate that process? Through issue reporting, not only can you report it and it's got all the date and timestamp, but then you can also attach pictures, and, there's a lot that you can do here, and it bubbles up, and now you have a record from every single store. So, really think about some of these things and look at them. And then an inspection app. So I love this one because it kind of gives a retail snapshot. But basically, right, inspecting. So think about restaurants, right? Are the stations clean? Are, from a retail perspective, is the store clean? Is everything sized from extra small to extra large, or whatever the sizing is? It doesn't matter. But basically, you ultimately are determining what do you want your Firstline workers to be doing and inspecting and reporting on. In very simple ways. If you're not doing that today, why would you not take advantage of these things to give you that information and have that roll up at a corporate level so you can get a better understanding of the business? So I will say from this standpoint, so right, I wasn't endorsing any third-party apps, but obviously I am very much endorsing you to go look at all of the Power Apps samples and all of the templates. These are highly, highly recommended. So with that, really quick, I just want to show you. So this is I actually have the templates pulled up for you here. So right, we have these templates already built out for you. You essentially just need to go out, grab the code, follow the instructions for how to set it up. and then you're on your way. So there's actually a lot out here that really pertain well to Firstline, really translate well, I guess you could say, to Firstline worker. So for example, staff check-ins with right in the world of COVID right now. You've also got, let's see, there's polling, right? We talked about that. New employee onboarding experience, right? That's a big one. Especially with high turnover, you want to make sure that you're getting people onboarded as quickly as possible. You've also got, HR support. You've got the FAQ plus bot, right? So there's always common questions that every single person in the stores, it could be by region, whatever, you can drill that down essentially in what is a knowledge base, and an FAQ plus bot, essentially that's an intelligent way to be able to provide instant feedback via bot to the most commonly asked questions that you can continue to build on. It'll continue to learn. It's really great. So if you haven't checked out FAQ plus, highly encourage you to do so. And company communicator, right? I've been on calls with my customers. Like, for example, they wanted to use this to be able to push out anything that's from a recall perspective, being able to push that down to all the stores quickly. So again, lots of creative ways of leveraging these templates. So again, highly encourage you to go take a look. And with that, I have about 7 minutes, so I'm right on time here. And I do apologize. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to any questions. So I just apologize for that in advance. But I do want to get to this demo because I just want to show you again. I know for all of you that have been with me for a while, I've actually shown you a demo before from an example of Firstline worker perspective. But I actually want to show you, and let me pull it up here. I want to show you some of the latest, right? Because we've been focused a lot on Power Apps and third-party apps and customizing the experience. So I just wanted to give you a brief sort of preview into potentially what that can look like for your Firstline workers. So again, make sure you understand what they need access to. IT essentially controls what apps they will have available to them. So really hone in on what is the most important to them, and then set that up in the policies. Like, hey, this is our Firstline workforce. This is what they need to have access to. And keep in mind that you can tailor those policies for different Firstline workers if you have unique personas within that group of individuals. All right, so what do I have up here right now? The hub. Essentially what this is, guys, so I've got my mobile device up here in the demo tenant. And right, you can see here, this is just SharePoint. That's all this is. So right, we know intranets are still very important in terms of pushing out news, pushing out any policies and procedures that individuals need to have access to, maybe, posting, so again, crisis response, other global security, leadership updates, lots of great information. Portals are still very much necessary. Why have them go out and go somewhere when you can have them be right inside of Teams getting the information that they need? In addition to that, right, shifts. So should you want to use shifts, keep in mind, we've got the shift connectors. So basically, you can use, for example, if you want to use the shifts front end and the Kronos back end, these are all things that you can do, something to keep in mind, or you could just use shifts from Teams if you want to make that shift, because it is very user friendly. Task, of course, right? So keep in mind, as you all know, we've got tasks that are pushed out there today. Publishing tasks are going to be coming soon. So really keep your eye on that, because again, when you're talking about, for example, I mentioned the holiday timeframe. Hey, we need you to have this store set up in this certain way, and we want to understand that reporting from a corporate perspective when this is done across all 385 stores. Again, all that reporting is going to be available and all contained essentially within Teams. As we look at some of these different apps here, right, so you can see ADP and you can see Now There, but basically, right, these are right. So support, for example, right, this is just a simple Power App. This really took no time at all to build, and I want you to keep your mind on. I want you to remember this support app, and not necessarily in this context that I'm showing you here, but just know, right, keep your eye on the Power App templates, because there's more goodness that's going to be coming. But again, right, often Firstline workers, I've seen a lot of Firstline workers when I've gone into stores, and they have an issue, it's like they pull out, first of all, they ask around and see if anybody knows the question. And then I see them pull out this big notebook and go to this page to try to find this number to call someone. That's not efficient for anyone, not for that associate, not for the customer. So why not make it easy for them, have support at their fingertips, have a knowledge base at their fingertips to make sure that they are resolving any potential issue in a timely manner. Any reports, right? Pay stubs, essentially, right? You can surface and pull in. You don't necessarily have to use ADP. Again, lots of integrations that sort of exist here, and lots of way for you to pull in information that you own today on the back end. Any other of your applications that you may use, essentially, surface through a Power App. And even, again, from a rewards and recognition standpoint. So right here's an example of rewards, employee rewards, cashback, different ways essentially to incentivize, kudos, right? Even with a leaderboard, and who gets the most kudos, again, incentivizing, making sure that you're addressing any attrition issues. Any insights, news, camera, for example, right? Keep in mind, remember, we had talked about the incident reporter. So actually being able to take a picture of something, an incident that's happening in the store. And again, it's not saved to their local device. It is saved. It is only saved and attached to Teams. So it's not, again, if they have their own mobile device and, it's BYOD, it's not actually saving it to their photos on their device. It is, again, only through Teams. Any organizational information, again, you kind of get the gist here, but that's really what I wanted to highlight to you all today is, now this is a lot of apps clearly from a Firstline worker standpoint. I totally get that. That's kind of why I keep saying to you all that think about your Firstline workforce. Ask them what are the most important things for them to have access to. Get it all in one place. And really just see the magic that happens. Because I've talked to a lot of workers that definitely would like to be more productive and think that there are lots of opportunities. So again, highly encourage you to take a look at all of this, and I do hope this was valuable information for you today. So I'm just going to flip back here, again, really appreciate your time today. I think we actually are at time, so I apologize for any questions I did not get to. Again, feel free to email me if anybody has any questions. It's kelly.cleland@microsoft.com. Also, I just want a quick reminder. So we have the next, which is going to be the part 3 of the app series session. It is going to be on December 11th, and this is all around management. So again, we've kind of taken a little bit of a different approach to these between the knowledge worker and Firstline workers. So really excited for the upcoming management session. That's going to even give you sort of a different view and a different thought process to follow for how to approach management, which is also critical to the business. And again, as Millen mentioned, all of our events are posted on demand at TryThisAt.Work. And remember, Chillin' with Millen is there as well. We thank you all for your time today. Really appreciate it, and we hope to see you on the next one. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Kelly. Have a great weekend.